welcome Tracey Hopkins. Tracey
Hi.
is a business coach and mentor, and Tracey is delivering the masterclass on It's Not About the Cake. So it sounds quite random, but Tracey tells us that it'll help you slay your pricing dragons and squash all the things that get in your way, which sounds amazing. But Tracey, let's hear about who you are and how you work with your clients.
Okay. Well, hi, Rebecca. Lovely to be here. Thank you so much for this. How am I and how do I work with people? Okay. Well, I am. I do business coaching and mentoring, predominantly with people who are running independent consultancy businesses. So, people who have set up businesses where they're selling services to usually other business owners, but people who are basically trying to package up and put a price tag on services, which is like super difficult. In some ways, when you're doing a product, you have some of your fixed costs and you sort of get how you have to put that into the pricing model, but with services it's so much more difficult. So yeah, I help them to just figure that whole puzzle out.
That sounds amazing, and something that I get asked about all the time. And it's never a question that you can just put a number on, is it? Like, tell us a bit more about the methods that you use and you'll be teaching.
Yeah, okay. Well, one of the things that I find with people when they are looking to set their prices is they do everybody does a couple of the same things. They look at try and find out what everybody else is charging, do this sort of mad Google search where you just try and find out what everybody else is doing, and then so that you can sort of tuck yourself in behind and go a little bit lower in price. But really, who's making those original decisions? That doesn't make any sense at all. And also the trouble with Google is that it will give you whatever you're looking for. So if you're looking for high-end pricing, you'll find it. If you're looking for low-end pricing, you'll find it. So whatever it is you're looking for on there, you're going to find. So yes, it's a good idea to know what's going on in the market, but it's not a big part of the whole pricing thing. So people do that. Then they look at maybe what they used to get paid in their old job, and they try and put together a pricing package that's going to get them somewhere close to that, because that's what they're used to thinking of their worth as being, what they got paid before. So there's that. Or they look at what they've maybe been able to sell things at in the past, and they think, oh, well, that works, so I'm going to stick with that price. So there's a couple of different things that people always do. And so when I work with people, I try and get them to step completely away from what is the thing worth. Yes, it's about what will people pay for the thing, because that's what people are really, they're obsessed with. What will people pay for it? So I try to get them to step away from that idea completely too. What are your income goals? What is it that you're building? Who are your audience? Who is it you're selling to? Looking at the bigger picture about everything that you're putting together, and then working your way from there to a price point that makes sense, and making sure that all the pieces come together, because it is a puzzle. There's lots of different pieces to it, and we need to understand what all these pieces are and how they fit together. So and just a huge amount of it's about confidence as well. So getting people to feel really confident about stating their prices, and not sort of like it's something they should be vaguely ashamed of.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big topic. So that's what
sounds amazing. And the Google thing, I think we had this conversation before. So I did this to begin with. When I first started coaching, I had a look at everyone who was at like the networking groups that I was attending in person, and I set my price, which was quite a bit more expensive than the people who were at the events. And then I went and did a Google search, and there's one coach who I still follow now, and she's an amazing coach, but her price was way more than even what I was pricing. And I was pricing myself at because of my experience and things that I'd done in the past and things that I'd done in my corporate jobs, and the investment that I'd made into myself within my training. I still charged a lot less than what she was charging. And then when I saw how much she was charging, I was like, oh my God, how does that even? So to give you the example, so I charged myself at that time was £75 an hour, which I felt was quite a lot, because the people who were going to the networking meetings, I think the most expensive was £45. And then I came across this online business coach who doesn't just work online. I found her online on Google, and she was charging like $500 an hour, and I was like,
Yeah, I know. I mean, the whole hourly day rate thing is a question that comes up all the time. You know, how much should my day rate be? How much should my hourly rate be? How much do other people charge for a day rate? And one of the things that I really, really try and get people to do is stop thinking about time as being their commodity. You know, there's a difference between what your time is worth to you and what your time is worth to your client. And you know, especially because a lot of people I work with, they're selling services into businesses where the client is looking for an outcome, and they want an outcome by a particular date. But to a certain extent, how long it takes you to provide that outcome is important for you as the provider, but it's not important to them as the client. And it perpetuates that employer-employee relationship where you're accountable to somebody else for your time in a way that makes no sense. Because and also it's such an interesting way of thinking about things, because it's almost rewarding you for taking longer to do something. Then, you know, if you get it done quickly, you get paid less, which doesn't make any sense at all, really. But yeah, that's the way that we structure our prices. You know, it's going to take a long time. So getting people to recognize that they need to understand their personal day rate, what they need to be generating with their business on a regular basis, you know, per day, as opposed to their quotable day rate, which is something completely different. And I think that as far as possible, not putting a day rate or the idea of a day rate into any quote that they do for client anyway, because it's not your time that your client is buying. You know, it's not your time that you're selling. We think it is because we've been taught through our experience of being employed that it's our time that we're selling, but it's not. It's our experience, it's our expertise, it's our ability to get something done, it's our ability to deliver a solution or solve a problem. It is absolutely not the time that it's taking us to do that. And that's a big mindset shift for people when they go into business, because it feels safer to talk in terms of day rates. It feels safer to talk in terms of hourly rates because we feel like we'll be able to explain that to people. But actually, there are two problems with it. The one that I've just talked about, and also the fact that once you run out of those hours, what do? That's why people end up working 60, 70 hours a week. Because if they're selling their time, the only way they can scale up their business is by selling a bit more of their time. And that's why they end up doing, you know, crazy hours to try and get more clients in, to make more money. And the whole model just collapses in a bit of a messy heap after. It works fine when you're starting and when you haven't got that many clients, and you know, it seems like you just need as much work as possible. But once you've actually got going, you've got a bit of momentum in your business, you've got some clients, you can't just keep on adding in more half days all the time. It's impossible. So as far as possible, I try to get people to not be thinking about interim work is slightly different, but if you're selling consultancy work or service-based work, then, you know, forget the day rate as far as your clients are concerned, because it's not going to help you and it doesn't really mean anything to them.
Yeah.
But everyone does it. And I say that to people, you can see them go, oh, but if I don't have the day rate to cling to, what is there? I mean, what am I going to be building this around? It's completely nebulous if I don't have something concrete to put it into. It's about fear again, and it's about confidence. It's about feeling that you can put a price tag on something without it having to be based on what your hourly rate is worth. Yeah.
Okay, so without us going into too much depth into the actual masterclass, what kind of step-by-step advice would you give someone who needs to kind of get their pricing game together?
Okay, well, there's a couple of things that we cover. A lot of it is around the psychology of selling, because a lot of business owners, there's a lot of guilt and shame around selling. You know, this idea that we're putting a price tag on something that we have. I had a client say to me once that she was working with quite sort of vulnerable people, and that can be very difficult for people if they feel like there's a group that is in desperate need of their services. She said to me, I feel like I have this knowledge that can help them, and I'm putting a ransom on it. You know, I'm sort of holding it hostage until they pay me an amount of money, and then I'll help them. And there's that whole sort of, you know, this idea that somehow our experience and our knowledge isn't something that we should be charging for. It's something we should be giving away free, but no one can pay the bills that way. So we sort of we come around to that. We sort of mitigate against that feeling by saying, okay, I've got to charge for it because I've got bills to pay, but I'm not charging very much. I'm charging as little as I possibly can. So a lot of the stuff that we do is getting people to recognize that actually their work has a value, their skills have a value, they have a value to your clients. People will make a judgment about the likely quality of what you're offering, often based on what you're choosing to charge for it. It positions you in the market. So think about where you want to be positioned in the market. We do a lot of stuff around that. and also quite a bit of sort of confidence work, just getting people to work through various different exercises that are going to help you just build up your confidence about actually speaking. Because what often happens is people are great when they're talking about their service, and then it gets to the price piece and then all the confidence disappears, and then this sort of confident businesswoman that the potential client was talking to a minute ago has disappeared, and it's left with this sort of blushing, stammering, oh, I hate talking about money, I'm not good at salesperson. And it undermines all their confidence in your ability, because all of a sudden they're thinking, okay, well, maybe she's not so sure about what she's actually offering here, because when it comes to the piece of talking about the price of it, all that sort of confidence and ability seems to have deserted us. So getting confidence, so figuring out how do you get confident about your pricing before I hate to say fake it till you make it, because it's not about faking it, but it's about getting used to talking about it. Because people say, I hate sales. I wish I didn't have to sell. I wish I could get somebody else to do the selling for me. But you know what? Money is not arriving in your business if you're not selling. It's just not happening. So unfortunately, there's just no way around it. And also, when you're employed, you're still selling stuff. You're selling your work. You're selling it. You just don't have to go and ask for the money all the time. That's the difference. So yeah, it's a lot of it's about the psychology of selling. And just what I want is people to stop feeling like pricing is this horrible thing that they just have to do because they have no other choice. Because pricing is a really positive tool that we can use in our business to position ourselves, to create the kind of business that we want, to put together the packages that we want. I quite often get people to think about, if you put a price tag on something, if you put a £3,000 price tag on something, which is like, massive for some people, they can't even begin to imagine it. If you put a £3,000 price tag on something, what would it need to be like? What would that experience need to be like for you to feel like this was an amazing thing for the client? How would you do it? Rather than, what's the minimum amount that I can sell this for? And, I recognize that people think, okay, I'm already charging not very much and I'm struggling, so how could I possibly ever charge more? But it actually doesn't work like that. It's often much easier to sell higher priced items than it is to sell the stuff that you feel like you're practically giving away. So yeah, a lot of it, just to answer your question, a lot of it is it's not about a formula. I want people to know that there is no formula that's going to give you a magical figure that the world is suddenly going to start buying your stuff at. That just doesn't work. It is about how you feel about your pricing, where you need to position it, who your customers are, what you're selling, and putting all of those pieces together and coming up with a price that makes sense for you now. And in a year's time, it probably won't make any sense to you anymore, and you'll have to do something different with it. And that's the other thing. When you set a price, that price doesn't have to be set in stone for the rest of time. I have so many people that have clients that have been paying the same stuff, paying the same rate since like 2011, 2006 in one case.
Oh, wow.
And you're just like, oh, no business runs like this,
Yeah.
Prices have to change, and people are terrified of talking about price changes to their existing clients in case they go, okay, I'm off them. So it's all about how you think and how you feel about the whole pricing piece. And if you get that, you can mess around with the figures all you want to, and you can figure it out. If you're coming out at the right place, you're thinking about it in the right way, and you stop feeling so embarrassed and ashamed about it, then those pricing dragons will be gone forever, and it will be a positive piece of your business. And that is what I want for people to feel that way about pricing, because that will stay with them forever. I can teach you a formula today that will be no use to you in 6 weeks' time, but if I can teach you or show you how to feel really positive about your pricing, it will stand you in good stead as long as you have business.
I love that so much. And it's so true, all about the perception and the way that you feel, definitely. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Tracy. I'm really excited for everyone to kind of dig in, and it's a question I guess asked so much, so it just made so much sense to bring you in as an expert. So tell us, where can we find out more about you, if any of our clients want to work with you more closely?
Okay, the best place to go to find out about me, there's two places. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn constantly. So go and find me on LinkedIn. The other place is my website. My website's in two different. My website's www.thebusiness-startupcoach.co.uk, and I've got a LinkedIn section and a price setting section, which are the two main things that I do. So if you go into the price setting section, if you're interested in this stuff, in there I've got all, whatever programs I'm running, whatever workshops I'm running, whatever free resources I've got, they'll all be in that section of my website. So those two places are the easiest places to find me. But yes, I'm always on LinkedIn, so that's a good place to to connect up with me.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to leave with our listeners? Anything that before they dig into the masterclass you want to share with people?
I don't think so. I think the main thing that I want people to remember about when it comes to pricing is that if you don't value your work, you can't expect your clients to value your work. If you're saying it's just this and I'm charging for it, it's all a bit embarrassing and I feel bad, there is no way anybody else is ever going to value that work. So I did a blog ages ago about how your first client is yourself. You have to believe in the value of what you're selling. So if you're selling the experience that you've gathered over the whole period of time that you've been learning, whatever it is you're learning for, if you put a price tag of like 5p on that, then don't expect your clients to come knocking on your door demanding to spend more. They'll just think if you don't value it, they won't value it. That's the key thing that I find, and that's that. You've got to start from there. Don't just say it's nothing much. It's not very good. Or if you're embarrassed, then they'll never buy from you.
Yeah, that's
so that's
really
the key point for me.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.